profession. And some of that I honestly believe is because they don't necessarily have the actual schooling for it. So they don't have that kind of clinical side or that textbook side interfering with the emotions. And as such, I don't want them to have to be a part of that and take on that emotion from the client or from the pet or from the veterinarian. And so I try and shield them from it, but it's still a big deal. I mean, it's still, these are pets that they've touched, they've held, they've cared for since they were puppies until they're seniors, or, you know, these are owners that they've had an emotional bond with over years and years, over multiple animals. And in my mind, when we euthanize pets, it is honestly, I think, harder on the support staff than it is on the veterinarian. And there may be veterinarians who disagree with that, and that's totally fine. But again, because I kind of force myself to go into a clinical, did I help them, did I not help them mode, it lets me take some of the emotion out and not get what's called compassion fatigue in a sense, or even like euthanasia fatigue. But I think for our assistants and our techs and our CSRs, with that like raw emotion that does not necessarily have that kind of clinical portion embedded in you, it is harder. And so when I interviewed a lot of the staff, again, euthanasia was the hardest part. And what's interesting is it's not the actual act of the euthanasia that really saddens them. I mean, it is sad, and there's certain pets that, just get to you. But it's the dealing with the clients afterwards. It's helping them, trying to ease their suffering, trying to make it a more positive experience or help them transition from having this pet that was by their side day in, day out for years and years and years to now not having them. And I think that everybody in my team does an excellent job with that. But I think the assistants really go above and beyond. And especially Jessie, who you'll hear during this episode, she actually, so a lot of times after the patient passes, we make what's called a clay paw. So it's a little clay impression of their paw print. And Jessie bakes all of them and she paints them. And they're amazing. I mean, she does an excellent job. And she's an amazing artist. And it's really neat to see each paw print that she does, because you can tell, you know, ones that she's known for years and years and has a deeper connection with because it like comes through in the art of the paw print. And I just thought it was interesting that as I was interviewing them, that's, you know, the thing that is the hardest, you know, not the stress, not the kind of sometimes being short-staffed or, you know, dealing with frustrations of employees or clients. It's the euthanasia. And I think that really speaks volumes about what kind of people we work with. So I think that's enough of me blabbing. We are going to listen to Sarah tell us about being an assistant first.
Of a full name?
No.
Okay.
Unless you
right?
want,
I know, right?
unless you want
wait a second.
creepers.
I'm Sarah, and I've worked at Petwell for 2 years and 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what position are you in?
I'm a veterinary assistant.
So tell me about the daily life of a veterinary assistant.
Oh, boy. We come in and we get the clinic in the back set up. So we turn on oxygen. We make sure machines are up and running. We get the rooms ready for clients. And then when the doctors get in, we put clients in the rooms and continue with helping with the doctors, assisting with the appointments and running blood work. Lots of nail trims, lots of anal glands, fun stuff like that.
Gotta love anal glands.
Right.
So do you like it?
I do. I love my job.
So what's your favorite part?
My favorite part is, like, today we had 6 Persian kittens come in. It's my favorite part.
What's your least favorite part?
My least favorite part is, well, it probably would be putting pets down, and especially to the really good clients who take really good care of their dogs and our cats, and there's nothing that we can do. It's, you know, already inevitable, so that's a really hard thing to deal with.
I don't know if it was as apparent on this recording as it is in real life, but Sarah is one of those people that walks into a room and the whole room lights up. She just has this kind of like fire energy, and she's an amazingly hard worker, and she really is a great pleasure to have on our staff and a lot of fun to work with. Now we're going to hear from Jessie, one of our other veterinary assistants, and she is pretty darn laid back, which is nice. She and I have very similar senses of humor, but I tend to be more on the OCD intense spectrum, and she tends to be more on the relaxed, it will get done spectrum. But she's definitely a pleasure to work with. Really, all of my staff members are awesome to work with, and I really couldn't ask for a better team. But now we're going to hear from Jessie about how she views her role as a veterinary assistant.
My name is Jessie, and I've been here 18 years.
And what position?
Veterinary assistant.
So tell me about a day in the life of a veterinary assistant.
Well, it's pretty busy. Keeps you on your toes all the time. You come in, get rooms ready, and you look at the schedule, and you get excited about all the animals that you're going to see. Basically, most of it is just holding dogs and helping the doctor assist in various things that we do.
So when an appointment comes, you go in and you do what?
We get all the vitals, which is temperature, pulse, respiration. We look at their teeth. Basically, we set up the appointment, what would you call it, the culture of the appointment. We, talk to the owners, get an idea of what they're here for, and basically so we can report back to the doctor and let them know what's going on.
And do you have to do any client education yourself?
Yeah, we have a protocol that we go by. We do our wellness presentation. We let them know what basically we're all about at the clinic and what we offer, which goes all the way from the different types of vaccines, all the way to the blood work that we offer, all the products that we offer. Basically, we answer any questions that they have for the doctor. We answer, and then we let the doctor know what they want, and we reiterate it. So it's basically like a preliminary questionnaire for the owners, so we can get a sense of what they want.
And what procedures are you performing on dogs when they're here, or cats? Because you're not just holding.
No, not just holding. I mean, we do a lot of the ahead of stuff. Like if they come in for shaking of the head and ears bothering them, we'll do the ear smear. We'll get blood on them. We draw up vaccines. We do pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Anals, yeah. Anal glands, which is always delightful. Nail trims, which can be super fun. But yeah.
X-rays.
Staining slides. It's like, it's hard to think about what you do in a daily life, because it's really almost like you go on autopilot, because you just get in that mode where you know what you got to do, and you just do it. It's very rewarding. I will say that.
And you do it well.
We do it well.
So tell me some of your favorite things about your job.
Favorite things? I mean, basically the interaction with all the animals. That's the main reason why I started this, especially kittens. I was always the little girl that brought home many, many kittens. But, the fact that, people bring their animals here, and they trust us. So it's like they're giving us permission to love their animals as much as they do, which to me, in my eyes, that's very rewarding. That's an ultimate trust, that they're saying, hey, my dog is sick and I'm trusting you to make them better. And that's just the most rewarding thing, I would say, in this job.
That was very lovely.
Yeah.
Very unscripted and very lovely. I like it. Good job.
Yes, thank you.
Tell me your least favorite part of the job.
Least favorite, obviously, when they pass away. That's the most hard. I would say seeing the pain that the clients have and not being able to do much about it, and having to say, I'm sorry. And, we build, from me being here for so long, we build a very strong relationship with the animals as well as the clients. So we see the heartbreak and we go through that heartbreak, and that is the least favorite of my job, besides anal glands, 'cause that's pretty terrible. But
well, thank you for joining us today, Jessie.
You're welcome.
Telling us a little bit about your life.
Yep.
not having done interviews a lot or really recorded prior to starting this podcast, I'm learning a lot. Like, you really shouldn't set the mic up right next to the phone. So in case anyone heard the phone ringing, it was kind of like we had a period of no phone calls for about a half an hour. And then as soon as I started recording, it was just ring, ring, ring. So I apologize. And I should also let you know that Jessie was recovering from the flu. And again, I voluntold realistically everybody that I interviewed, but she was still a good sport. So you'll have to excuse her slightly gruff voice as she was recovering. I think that is a really good picture that both Sarah and Jessie painted of their lives as veterinary assistants. And realistically, a lot of people think of what they do as a job. You know, I go to work, do my job, I go home. But calling it a lifestyle really is very appropriate because, while yes, we all have lives outside of work and we have family and we have our own fur babies and friends, it is a lifestyle. The way that you think about animals, the way that you think about other people, the way that you embrace the culture of the clinic and the profession really does result in having more of a lifestyle than just a job. And I think that the Day in the Life series really helps kind of iterate how strongly connected these women are to each other as well as to their careers and really to their passion. I think that's a great place to stop for today, and we will pick it up in 2 podcasts where we do our final Day in the Life episode. And in that episode, we're going to talk about the management at the veterinary hospital. So we're going to interview Jessica, our practice manager, and then I'm also going to talk a little bit about what it's like to be a medical director. I think that about wraps it up. As always, thank you for listening to this installment of Vetsplaining. I hope you enjoyed your time with me and ideally learned at least one new thing for the day. If you have any questions or suggestions for future topics, feel free to leave a comment below or email info@independenthillvet.com and put podcast topic or podcast comment in the subject line. Until next time.